Welcome to the Built Environment Demo Day. The Built Environment Demo Day is jointly organised by the Building and Construction Authority, Enterprise Singapore, JTC, and proudly supported by Innovation Partner and Innovation Catalyst, Padang & Co. I'm Christina, your MC and host for today. So today we will be hearing 9 startups that are emerging and innovative and whom we believe will transform the built environment industry. And this is especially important and remarkable considering how they blazed through what we all know to be a very challenging year. So to kickstart the Built Environment Demo Day, I would like to invite our guest of honor, CEO of the Building and Construction Authority, Mr. Kelvin Wong, to share with us a few opening remarks. Mr. Kelvin Wong, please.
Hi, good morning to all distinguished guests of our Built Environment Demo Day. This is the first time we are amalgamating some of the most promising BE startups and emerging technologies from our acceleration program and networks under one roof. A warm welcome to all of you, and I hope you enjoy the exciting pitches and technologies lined up today. Together with Enterprise Singapore and JTC, BCA has been actively supporting the BE innovation ecosystem since 2019. The Built Environment Accelerate to Market Program, or BEAMP for short, which many of you are familiar with, is currently in its 3rd cycle. BEAMP is an open innovation platform that develops and supports promising innovators as they bring their expertise, technologies, and solutions to the built environment. And we really wish that you can succeed so that together we can transform the whole built environment sector. The BE Demo Day would not have been possible without the support of our distinguished judges. Looking forward to hear their views on each innovator's pitch, and at the end of the 9 pitches, the judges will come together to decide on the winners of the Impact Award, Innovation Award, and the Rising Star Award. I'm happy to see many of you joining us at this broadcast of BE Demo Day, and I encourage all of you to actively participate in the virtual networking event afterwards. We look forward to build from here a vibrant and valuable network that will help us harness the innovations, scale, and transform our built environment. So without further ado, let the pitching begin. Thank you.
Thank you, CEO of BCA, Mr. Kelvin Wong, for the arousing opening remarks. So as we've mentioned, at the end of the demo day, there will be 3 awards: the Rising Star Award, the Impact Award, and the Innovation Award. And this enormous challenge of having to crown the winner of these awards is tasked to our judging panel of 3 very distinguished heavyweights in the venture capital industry. First, we have Dr. Lim Jee, CEO of SG Innovate. Next, we have Mr. Clarence Tan, founder of Origin Ventures. Last but certainly not the least, we have Ms. Chia Sui Ling, operating partner of Wavemaker. Now that we've introduced the judges, we've heard from the guest of honor, it's time to meet the stars of the show. Today we have 3 themes: 1 digital, automation and robotics, and sustainability. We'll be hearing 3 startups from each theme, and these are your 9 startups that are pitching today. Each startup will have about 3 minutes of presentations, followed by 4 minutes of Q&A with the judges. Now we know it's a bit of a tight crunch, so let's keep it short and snappy. Let's begin with the first team, digital. The first startup who will be presenting today is VR Collab. VR Collab enables the viability of BEAMP, Building Information Modeling, by increasing its collaborativeness, usability, and viability across all stakeholders.
Morning, judges and ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ryan, CEO of VR Collab. So a bit about VR Collab. We are actually a Singaporean contact startup. Of course, initially incubated in the SG Innovate Entrepreneur First. We are from the first batch, actually. So we've been around from around late 2016, and we've since then, in the past 4.5, 5 years, we have over 400 organizations in 32 countries. Yeah, so initially when we started out, we didn't have a product, we didn't have clients, of course. We started in Singapore, and of course, not only with the help of BCA, but a lot of the other Singaporean entities, the governments, the stat boards, and even guys like Sabana Jurong, they did help us create our product. And today we are where we are is because of the AC industry in Singapore. So these are just a few of our direct clients. So if you've seen any HDB, for example, public housing or underground MRT in the past couple of years, the design has probably been coordinated in VR Collab. So how does it look like using our software? So for first and foremost, our software actually helps democratize BIM coordination. So what do I mean by democratize? Because there are actually, not only in Singapore, but globally, especially in BIM-mandated countries like Singapore, you have a lot of project stakeholders, a lot of the industry, although their projects might use BIM, right, that 3D model for design, but a lot of these stakeholders are not BIM trained or BIM skilled. So for our software, what we actually do is that we enable every single person in the coordination, right, to basically be engaged and able to communicate effectively in BIM. Yeah, and so this is just a quick comparison. Of course, you do have remote internet meetings, VR functionality, as our name suggests, but 80% of our users globally use us without VR. So think of it like playing a game, right? This is just a quick workflow. Basically, you bring in the model, be it from the cloud, the authoring software, and then you're able to have your coordinations, and finally, generate your coordination reports for model iteration. Yeah. So these are some of quite mentionable projects. So think about it is that a lot of your key infrastructure, let's say airports, you do have BIM. It's designed in BIM, so you're actually able to use such technology to do your security and operations planning. Another thing that we also did is basically with our understanding of BIM, we created an auto checker of sorts where we turn the building codes into algorithms where it saves a couple of man days for all HDB engineers to check the building design before signing off. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Ryan, for the presentations. Okay, my key questions right now is how do you stack up against the bigger guys like Autodesk? They also have some kind of BIM software globally. So what is your competitive advantage compared to these guys? So
with regards to Autodesk, as you guys might know, the biggest of the biggest, right, in our industry. So they're very famous for their AutoCAD, which is everyone knows the 2D, but of course BIM is the 3D version of that, and they have the BIM authoring software called, for example, Revit, Navisworks. So for us, we are actually directly integrated to these softwares. We do not concentrate on authoring the BIM, but we are concentrating on allowing stakeholders to coordinate and collaborate on that BIM. And thus far, actually, we work really closely with Autodesk itself. We've been having like joint webinars together, go-to-market stuff for the newer cloud products where we are also integrated to, and vice versa. Those integrations have brought us a lot of clients, especially in US, in Europe, and the UAE, for example, where they are a bit more forward-thinking in the whole cloud way of doing things. Yeah.
Given your global ambitions, what is your go-to-market strategy? Is it setting up subsidiaries in places, or are you going to be using a more remote kind of way of growing a business?
I think for VR Collab, especially as us Singaporeans, company with that Singaporean brand, which is a very reputable one. So in China, right, we realized that, doing business, we can't do the whole digital marketing thing, SaaS product, SaaS business model. It's a lot of engagement. So we did set up a subsidiary there. But what we are finding also is that as we make our digital marketing funnel more robust, we are able to reach, all other countries outside of China. So we are a bit of like, dipping in two pots and growing it in parallel. Yeah.
How's your traction, follow on with Dr. Lim Jui, on the traction-wise? I know you have $800,000 revenue.
Yes.
As compared to, what is the split between the SaaS, because you're focusing on SaaS right now, right? As versus project basis type of revenue.
Correct.
How is the mix?
I think sales cycle definitely is faster. We do have friends in the industry that do a project-based kind of business model. Sales cycle is faster. I'm able to keep my team relatively small. Like my Singaporean team is only about 12 people, including software developers, right? But at the same time, of course, value per client, you don't make so much in the first year, but usually then you upscale from there. But we do have some group deals in the pipeline, so like few hundred licenses, that kind of thing. And yeah, we're working, but then those deals tend to be a bit longer, but the absolute amount of it is also like a project. So we are able to do a bit of both.
Next up, we have Doxa. Doxa is a local fintech startup that's helping to connect buyers, suppliers, and financiers seamlessly through their enterprise collaborative trade platform.
everyone. I'm Edmund from Dotstar. Allows me to run through a story about 5+ years ago when I started join this large-scale company that they decided to actually spin off a fintech that focused on financing. So this company actually allows me to actually reach out to them to start off because of the first company's employee of this startup. I have reached out about 200 to 300 companies because of the relationship with the banks with this large-scale company. So I realized that because of the so-called nature of financing that requires, we need to understand about the procurement information. With the procurement information, I realized that companies to company, actually they do talk to each other. Actually, when there's exceptional handling of procurements and issues that happens on the invoices and stuff, right? Actually, they talk to each other. But some things that I think that there's missed out, actually, this one area is that their system don't talk. Because the system don't talk, we are unable to actually have the information that are able to run through on this platform. So I realized that when we started to think about this issue, the pain point of the market, thereafter we decided to think about we need to build a collaborative trade platforms. But how to reach a collaborative trade platforms that allows to create a cross-industry ecosystem? That is something that is very big words, that how are we able to claim these collaborative trade platforms? So thereafter we started to think through how are we going to build on this angle. Allow me to run through a bit of so-called case studies that I recently run through together with a construction company like Tiong Seng and DBS that we have last year have some press release together. Even like GoCoLand recently, we worked with GoCoLand with OCBC. So usually the company actually started with a buyer and seller. So this buyer and seller actually allows them to actually connect with each other to run procurements like RFQ, purchasing, PO to this main con. Then the main con actually allows them, so main con is actually a seller. So allow this seller to convert them to become a buyer. So this buyer then allows them to reach out to their subcon. So the system continue to evolve and continue to run through this. Then this allows them to, from a first tier developer, main con to the subcon, and thereafter to the second tier of the subcon. So this whole entire ecosystem allows them, or allow us to actually spin off to another different verticals. Because every verticals is all in one platform, right? So in order to achieve this ecosystem, I realized that there's something that we need to achieve. We need to build a highway. This highway allows the data to be able to transmit. But today, the system has these blockages of the linkages that allows to travel this highway. So what we need to do is to make sure that this highway allows to transport to even the banks and stuff, and we need to actually eliminate these angles of data duplications. So data duplication is something that we need to achieve this. With the information, there's roadmaps or visions that we want to make sure we anchor that, to make sure that the procurement layers is established. The second layers of the payments, we need to run through the end-to-end payments that connect to the bank, and then after the financing layers. Thank you very much.
Sure. So your primary customers are now the banks or the who's paying for the service primarily?
The service is paid by the main anchor, and the suppliers is free, and we actually reach out to bank customers. We start off with a main anchor. The main anchor may have 200 subcon and suppliers. We will onboard them to make sure that it's free. Then after, we will convert the main con, the 200 over to a paid buyer. Then they start to reach out on that.
It's a subscription service.
Yes, correct. It's a SaaS model.
Is this based on some kind of blockchain or no?
Definitely. Actually, we are using a Hyperledger Fabric. And also, currently we are actually bringing the hashes over to this network. But definitely our vision is to make sure that we will run through a full end-to-end smart contract with the banks and to run through on that. Yeah. So right now, only the sequence of events like PO, invoices, DO, and stuff push over to the blockchain to make sure that the invoice and documents will not be duplicated.
I think I came across maybe a couple of companies also doing similar. Even some of them are startup from NTU. So I just want to ask you, what is the key differentiator your platform as compared to some of the maybe early startup and maybe a little bit of one or two maybe more established player in the market right now?
We can say that actually we are very unique because one of the patents that we have done through is imagine this platform is like a Facebook. Every entity able to go inside to actually register yourself, and it is going to be a closed marketplace. Today, actually, identity, I can set up a so-called a connection with you, then I can start to do a procurement system. This is one angle. And everything is in one platform. And also another angle is that today there's a lot of market procurement. They focus on individual industry. Although they are ecosystem that today I go to F&B ecosystem, I can only buy F&B stuff. How about if today I F&B at a restaurant, I want to do aircon servicing? How can I do that on the platform? So for us, actually, we're able to reach out to across industry and allows them to actually use it in the same way and to run through the whole entire B2B space in this platform. And everyone is in this ecosystem.
Just want to confirm, follow on with Su Ling's questions on the business model. Your revenue stream is purely from SaaS or from project management basis?
Yep. To be fair, 2019, we make sure that we burn because we have to build the sophisticated platforms. We don't have any revenue on 2019. 2020, we hit a $1 million so-called revenue above. And I mean, to be transparent, because actually we only have about 70 to 80% of professional service. 20% is mainly on the SaaS model. Actually, our idea is to make sure that we flip over, to make sure that the SaaS model actually able to achieve this. And right now, actually, we are working with various banks to actually bring in all the people coming in to actually adopt that angle. Yeah.
So that means you've got quite a bit of customization to do if you're saying professional services.
No, it's more on the implementation process. Because today, because this is a BAU day-to-day operation for that, so we need to put in a first-time, one-time fee to make sure that bringing the headcounts in to help them to actually put in their information inside there to run through the day-to-day. Because, for example, one of the main con actually every month they are claiming few hundred million, 20 million, 30 million of dollars inside the platform. We need to make sure that actually the implementation, rollout, pilots and stuff actually have to make sure we handle it well. So that is one time of the implementation fees. Thereafter, once they go live, they have to pay for the subscription. So the subscription will include of the enhancement fee, because we're not going to say that you want to customize, then we will charge you. Every feedback that we take it in, we will actually review it in our R&D. Thereafter, we will improve this feedback and apply to everyone. Share version of the kind of industry that is able to contribute to the environment. So that's something that we want to look at the angle. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. That was Doxa.
Thank you.
Actually, I have to commend you. Very good website for a young company.
Thank you. Thanks. Thank you.
Next, our third speaker for the digital theme is Novad. Novad is a leading construction management software for the building and construction industry in APAC. The data captured of site processes provides insights to streamline operations and drive results.
Good morning. Good morning, judges. Thank you very much for hosting us this morning. My name is Dennis. I'm the CEO and founder of Novad. The company was created actually 7 years ago, had very humble beginnings on the 9th floor of an industrial building here in the middle of Singapore. And today, we are the largest company for construction management software in Asia. We operate in 20 countries. We are proud to have more than 100,000 users. And we're also very proud to deliver outstanding product and services with a 96% customer satisfaction. With Novad, our clients can manage all their processes with one single app, easy to use. They can manage quality, safety, reports, maintenance, their workforce, and their activities on any construction site. With the data captured, it helps them to streamline operations and really make sense of all the processes that are managed on site. With Novad, our clients can work faster, smarter, and safer. We help them to improve productivity by 20%. We help them to reduce quality management by 50%, and we help them to reduce safety management by 50%. Novad is used on a wide range of projects across the world. Construction sites, in Jakarta, tunnels in Europe, metro lines, buildings, Hanover in Thailand. The platform is used on a lot of projects in Singapore, but it's also used across the world. You can see all the dots with the projects across Europe, Asia, and Middle East. It's used also by the largest contractors, developers, and facility operators across the world. Now, our vision is to revolutionize field management with digitization and AI. So what does that mean? We think that in the future, companies will be able to manage their operations on site through AI. But to get there is going to be a journey. And the journey is going to involve multiple steps. The first step is always to define the way you work on site by defining your processes. The next step we do with a lot of our clients is we help them to automate these processes and digitize these processes. With the data captured, we help them to create dashboards that describe how they operate and help them to improve the way they manage their operations. In the future, in the very near future, some of these clients with all this data accumulated are going to be able to do predictive analytics. They will also be able to, at some point, do prescriptive analytics with AI and machine learning. And this is really worth it because there's some data that shows that the global construction industry could improve productivity by 25% through on-site execution and technology. But this will only happen, and we believe it can only happen and we can make a difference. If there's only way to do it, it's by starting from the ground up.
Thanks, Dennis. I'm
you.
surprised you're even here. I mean, you're so successful.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the future.
Yes.
You talked about AI on site. Can you give a concrete example of how artificial intelligence might be deployed?
Yeah, we are starting to work with some clients on this. We have a client, for instance, in Singapore, which has been using the platform for 4 years. And over the time, they've managed to accumulate records for 500,000 defects and rectifications done on sites. So when you have so much data, and if this data is managed in a very rigorous way, you can start doing correlation and predictions. For this client, we're able to predict when defects are going to happen on the new projects and how long it's going to take to rectify these defects. It's possible because you can create models with the existing data, and you run these models to predict the future. So that's a concrete example that is working today.
And this data sits on Novade software used by the customers.
That's right. This data belongs to the client, just to be very clear, right? So it belongs to the client, but we help them to build the models so that they can predict what's going to happen next.
Dennis, I would like to focus on the scaling up of your business because you are quite successful in launch in many countries. Your software platform, is it a standard software that all the construction company in the world can adopt the same standard? Because from what I know, construction processes are quite different. Standard regulations, everything is different. So every time you need to customize it for your foreign customers, would there be a scalability issues?
Yeah, that's the big challenge in this industry. You're right. So the construction industry is very different. In a given country, you're going to find different types of projects. Each company has its standards. And so when you start scaling overseas, you encounter even more and more differences. So in the case of Novade, what very early, 7 years ago, as we were developing the platform, we ventured overseas. Now, when I say that we operate in 20 countries, we actually have the same product deployed in China, in Japan, in France, in Africa. Okay? Why is it possible? It's because very early we went in these countries, we tried to understand the requirements, and we used these requirements to build a common platform. Right? So today it's the same platform which is used across the world, and 80% of the features are used everywhere. But there's 20% that you always need to configure. And so what is very special about that platform, it's easy to configure, and it can match any process anywhere in the world. And that's actually how we compete. That's what makes us different in the market. Yeah. But that's the big challenge in that industry. Yeah. There's a lot of technical and product challenge behind this.
What I find to be potentially missing there on the charts, on the customer service, on the customer product, is how do you help companies become more ESG compliant, given that is the trend that we have to really focus on?
That's right, yeah. So I missed 3 slides at the end, which is I did not rehearse correctly. It was, ESG, we are seeing this becoming more and more important. So if you look at the industry, building and construction represents 40% of CO2 emissions worldwide, 30% of wastage worldwide. So this is quite big. 40% is buildings, but if you look at the construction, it's a smaller chunk of it, right? It's about 10%. Still, I think that we're going to start seeing a lot of regulation coming up in all the countries to be able to control how much carbon emissions you're doing and wastage. The big clients we have in Australia and Europe are starting to really ask a lot around this. So how can we help them? What is very interesting is there's a lot of thoughts and discussions about ESG, but it's very challenging to measure. And in most of the things in construction, you want to regulate, you want to put some standards and norms, you don't know how to measure. So where we help our clients is actually to measure the waste. Where is this waste coming from? Where is it going? Now,
Thank
how much
you,
waste did I have
Dennis.
on this, right? So this is how we can help them. It's to measure, their carbon footprint or their wastage. Yes.
Thank you, Dennis.
Yes.
So that is Novade.
Thank you very much.
Now, let's look at our second theme, robotics and automation. First up, we have Operava AI, who uses cutting-edge AI and robotics technology with the passion to make the built environment a safer and smarter space.
Hi, my name is Mulan Chen, and I'm representing Operava AI today. I would like to introduce to you our smart inspection and maintenance platform. Earlier this year, our company launched Operava Smart Inspect, a smart inspection solution services for the construction and construction sites and buildings. Now, compared to the traditional manual inspections, which many of you may be aware, it has a few very obvious benefits. Number one, almost zero risks of lost lives due to work injuries. Number two, the solution itself can get the same job done much, much faster, in fact, 5 times faster, and it reduces the cost by up to 75%. In the photo is actually the tallest building in Singapore. Even at 1,000 feet above sea level, our solution can deliver the same performance. And these are some of the companies that we've worked with so far. Now, one might ask the question, there are several such solutions in the market. So what makes Operava AI so special? Well, since day one, our team had made it a mission that we build full in-house capabilities of all the key steps, which has allowed us great quality assurance over what goes in, which is the inspection, and what comes out, which is the insight. Now, today, we're very, very excited to announce that we have distilled such internal know-how into a single application, which is going to be ready to be shared with you guys very soon. We call it AirPlant. AirPlant is a single platform which allows asset owners, drone pilots, as well as consultants to fulfill all of their inspection needs for smart buildings. It has a few key benefits and features I'd like to share with you. And number one, AirPlant is tailored for local use. It takes full consideration into the local environment, landscape, regulations, et cetera, so that the drone pilots do not have to worry about these kind of compliance issues. Number two, the automated flight functionality takes away the guess game from the drone pilots, so the pilots of all experience levels is able to execute a quality flight and deliver quality insights. And lastly, but most importantly, is our intelligent analytics allows the data to be fully extrapolated so the asset owners can reap the maximum benefits the data has to bring for them. That means that we use different kind of AI technologies as well as advanced analytics. So where do we go from here? Well, we started with the Operava Smart Inspect, and soon we're going to launch AirPlant. Also, 3D photogrammetry is under the works. And finally, these all will feed into a common data environment system. Please get in touch at hello@operava.ai. Thank you.
Very interesting. So how are you training what data are you using to train the AI, given that you're new at this?
Yes, so great question, thank you. So first of all, we have 3 co-founders, and we all come from different backgrounds. I myself come from maritime and asset protection. One other guys come from data analytics, and one other comes from a drone robotics itself. So we all have the blessing to have very wide different kind of contacts in the industry. So we've been able to amalgamate tremendous amount of training data to begin with. So even though with that we only started from last year, we actually have been standing on the shoulder of the giants. Yeah, and since our launch, we actually have been continuing getting high quality amount of inspection data ourselves as well. So in fact, we do have quite a big of a library.
So with your system, you can only do external inspections, right? I mean, it's a drone-based inspection system? First question.
Not entirely true, but please follow up with your question.
So how are you able to do substructure analysis?
Yeah, so
So you can preempt
yes.
Maintenance issues?
So our main focus is indeed external, exterior, and facade. And the main reason for that is not because we cannot do interior, but more because of the demand at the moment. Because in the current, I guess, professionals' mindset, unless something can reduce their manpower, that costs their time, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. And that actually is very true with interiors, because they feel that they still have to deploy the same amount of man hours and time to do all of this. So it's a weaker business case, and that's why we have chosen not to focus on it. However, we do have the readily available capabilities. It's just not a strong marketing push at this point in time.
And the second part of my question, I mean, all these stories about facades,
Yes,
bits of
falling
the facade falling off.
Yes.
How do you?
So apart from the obvious visual inspections, right, things that can break down coming off, we actually are deploying other kind of data that we capture, such as thermal analysis, because with these additional kind of supplementary data, we can see a lot more different things. You can see potential water leakages, potential, we call it the concrete spalling that might be an early indicator of the corrosion of the steel structure. So these kind of things can be detected using smart analytics behind the scenes. So it's not just not just the visuals. It's also beyond the visual, the functions and the predictive maintenance, as you have rightly pointed out.
Thanks, Mulan. I realized that you're a very early stage startup. So in your description over here, you mentioned that you provide a suite of AI solution, including smart drone inspection plus construction process.
Correct.
Right? So my key question to you is basically, where is your focus? Because as a startup, you want to do the construction management software, or you want to do the smart drone inspection, because you only have so limited resources, right? You can only focus on one thing. So which business are you focusing?
Right. Okay. So the readily available business is the smart inspection. So that's a very mature operation. We have everything set up to go. However, our next phase of focus is to launch AirPlan, which is the software that will allow other people to use the same kind of services, because it is a very complex process. We want to make sure that all drone pilots of all levels can deliver the same amount of quality work. The point you mentioned about the construction kind of a management software, that's ultimately our vision, because we do want to solve the common challenges that faced by the industry, that a lot of applications do not talk to each other. So that's where our ultimate vision are setting on. So we do have a separate team looking after that does not interfere with our main operations for the time being.
What about your business or revenue model or your revenue stream? What business model are you adopting for this case?
So the smart inspection is our main kind of bread and butter, because it's very obvious. We do get a lot of queries from different asset owners. Now the AirPlan will fall under the SaaS model. In fact, we have quite a lot of different recipes cooking under the platform, because we are now going to make sure that the analytics and capture made easy, but then also the other aspects, licensing, permits, insurance, these are the aspects that all the drone pilots have to deal with on a daily basis. And the individual, it's very difficult. So we want to become the kind of a support organization that allows such industry to start really booming, instead of still kind of getting a bit hinged on the limitations that they are faced with at the moment.
Next, we have Oceania Robotics. Oceania Robotics is one of Southeast Asia's leading provider of ruggedized industrial maintenance robots for ship maintenance, pest control industries, and vertical landscaping.
Hello everyone, I'm Raymond. I'm the CEO of Oceania Robotics. Today I'd like to share a bit about our company, where we transform a lot of business processes in the area of work maintenance with robotic solutions. And a lot of these solutions are actually used in built environment today itself. So allow me to share a bit about our company. We were started by our co-founders, Prof. Mohan from SUTD, together with Madhu, who is also a concurrent director from Brightson. So together they found a lot of gap in terms of their industry that they're doing. And we have licensed a lot of technologies from the National Robotic Program, where they have funded a lot of projects in SUTD. So together we license this project and we commercialize it in in Oceania Robotics. So this is where we have actually accelerated the development once we commercialize these projects here in Oceania Robotics. And together we also have our advisor, Venkat, who is the group president in Olam as well. So with their expertise and my daily operation itself, we have grew Oceania Robotics in the span of 2 years to where we are today. And I'd like to share a bit about our solutions here in Oceania Robotics. So we focus mainly on pest control, where the robots here, this is our robot Dragonfly. It goes around to capture mosquito in a given space, where you can control the robots to patrol an area and how you like to coordinate it itself in schools, elderly cares, in cafeterias, etc. So the robot goes around and attracts mosquito using multi-attractants that simulates human beings. So these mosquitoes will come in and attracted to the chamber of the robots, where they get stuck over a glue trap in the chamber itself, and over time they dehydrate and die. So in this case itself, we also have cameras at the top of this trap itself to recognize what are the mosquito rate that is captured, where and when they are captured itself. So using this itself, we are able to build a heat map density to identify the mosquito populations itself. So this gives built environmental data itself, where you know where potentially is a hotspot itself. From there, we have also deployed at many areas. In the video you see is the one we deployed at Tampines Round Markets. We have here a lot of feedback from construction areas, particularly where they have faced mosquito issues with stop work order itself. So they are looking to have this robot in a larger capacity to engage these areas, hopefully to catch and also to identify this before they have to react towards it when they know about this problem itself. Other than that, we also have another solution. It's called Falcon. It's a small robot that we are funded by NEA to go around in force ceiling to inspect for rodent activities. So we have this robot that can easily navigate around force ceiling, overcome this kind of multi-terrains up to a runner of 55 mm, and also with all the cablings, etc., to inspect for all the rodents, etc. And we can also inspect for the situation in the force ceiling, for example, the safety integrity itself. Yep. So thank you for understanding about our solutions in Ocean Air Robotics.
So what is the customer reaction? I mean, contrary to Jay, I think it's kind of cute, it's very interesting. You know, how much is it? What are the specs? How big is this thing? Is it potentially a B2C product as well, or is it just B2B?
Okay. So currently it is more of a B2C product itself, where we actually target a lot of schools, elderly cares, etc. The product is actually at currently 18,000, but we are focusing more on rental as a service. So we rent it. We have also partnered with Agrotech, one of the biggest pest control distributor in Singapore. So they are actually promoting it now. So we are renting it at about $300 a month. So it's very affordable, and a lot of people are currently in our deployment trial testing list at the moment.
Yeah, I think just a follow-up question. The business model, of course, you are saying that you're renting the devices and you make a so-called recurring revenue every month, right?
Yes.
So $18,000, have you calculated the ROIs? And I have a home, I deploy my static mosquito so-called catcher, similar like that. It costs me only about maybe $20 per trap, few locations. I don't know whether that makes more economical sense as compared to a robot armed with a LiDAR and all these things that cost $18,000.
Yes.
So have you surveyed the market that is that a requirement for this type of high-tech tools?
Yes.
Yeah.
So a lot of, definitely there are some areas that are, for example, on smaller scale, they may not be the most suitable, but a lot of bigger areas, for example, currently they have to have certain strategic placement of the trap, or certain areas itself, because of the environment factor that we have, like raining itself, this kind of static trap may not be the most suitable. So using this itself, like for example, also in elderly cares where they do not want this kind of active maintenance, to have reactive maintenance like fogging. So they prefer this kind of more of a patrolling autonomous solutions at the back end to provide that solution to them. So to answer your question, ROI currently is about 3 years.
Our final startup for the robotics and automation pillar is Agile. Agile enables 3D construction site verification and 3D scans of properties to be done quickly and affordably.
I'm delighted to be here and take you through some of the developments with our latest robotics project. We were recently given a challenge, an industry challenge, and that was to look at how to accurately survey building systems within ceiling spaces. Now, this is needed for renovation works and also building maintenance. But what a lot of people don't realize is that the buildings around in Singapore, in the major cities in the region, and also globally, they don't have accurate as-built drawings. And they also don't have 3D BIM models that we actually see around today. So that was the problem. To compound the problem further, builders, contractors, they need to strip the ceilings and they need to remove ceilings to measure at the moment. And that obviously is causing a lot of disturbance. Our solution was to come up with something small, something nimble that could move around in the ceiling space and could be controlled remotely. So we came up with combining 3 technologies: a Hexa robot, a LiDAR scanner with the world's smallest LiDAR camera, and also a remote controller from an FPV drone technology system. In this video, you'll see that we've actually taken the Hexa into ceiling space, carried out a survey. It goes around capturing the features. After it captures the features, it actually registers the scans on board, and then it also processes the point cloud on board, and that's in real time. And then we're then able to take the point cloud and convert that into a BIM model that architects, consultants, and contractors can use. The benefits we feel are compelling for this system in that it removes the need to remove ceilings. It also reduces manpower considerably. We also think that it's a safe method to use, and operators can be the building owner's own staff, or alternatively, the contractor's trained staff. Big picture, what does it mean to the industry? Well, we estimate that you can actually save about 60% in time savings. And obviously, it's a significant low capital cost item for people to purchase, and it's an efficient way to harvest the data in the ceiling space. Thank you.
That's a really cool device. So you actually lift it up onto the false ceiling.
Yes.
And it's, I mean, how much does it weigh? Does it?
Well, that was the
cause
thing,
any trouble
because
on the false ceiling?
ceilings obviously can take different loads, but they're very lightweight. Traditional methods, you get workers crawling into the ceiling space trying to measure and things like that. So we've eradicated that, take that away.
Yeah.
This is it's about 4 kilograms.
Wow.
But we've designed it so that it suits different payloads. So similar to a drone, where you could put camera payloads or thermal scanners and things like this, this is what we see as being an opportunity for this survey kit.
Do you have intellectual property on this? Is this novel?
We didn't take intellectual property right on this. We actually feel that we're actually great believers in open source, and we actually believe that through the open source community, we can actually develop and come up with worthwhile things that are affordable. They're not super expensive, and that the industry can adopt. Because at the moment, there's a lot of barriers to entry to some of these kinds of devices.
So what's the resistance you face when you market this to potential customers? Given the significant cost saving, et cetera, it should be a no-brainer, right? But where is the resistance coming from?
I think generally there's a bit of an education process in that current methods are so difficult, and we have the baggage within the industry of knowing that every time you go into a ceiling space, it's so congested and it's difficult for people to work with. So a lot of what we do is provide visualizations, 3D visualizations, also of how this works within the ceiling space to give that confidence. And we also, the intention is in the future that we will run certified training schemes so that people will actually be able to be trained, similar to a drone, where companies have purchased drones and go through a whole drone pilot training process. We feel that we can do something similar for the industry with this as well.
I feel that you can use video quite nicely with your marketing. Do you do that?
Well, we do. The simulations we do are videos and tutorials. So, the intention is that we actually, once we finished our prototype testing, which is the end of this year, we'll run a series of tutorials, and those will take you through, it's guided steps, particularly on the methodology, how to plan, because to get the efficiency and to get the benefits of the system, you really, like most things in life, you really need to plan ahead. And to do that with a 6-legged robot in a ceiling space, you need to understand the best way to go about that.
James, the converted BIM data, I mean, what's the actual versus project? I mean, how accurate is it, in short?
No, it's very accurate. The system that we use, the onboard system, it's actually, the system that we use is from .3D, which is a recognized system from America. And they use that for digital twins. So it's used in architecture and architectural practices as we speak. So it's a recognized system for point cloud and BIM conversion.
My concern is how do you scale overseas besides Singapore, because you are not funded, this is one, unless you're very, very profitable, this is one. Second thing is, have you considered the data collected from your system that you can form the digital twins that you can monetize it even more effectively?
Yes, so first part, we're looking to people like yourself to help us think of ways of being able to bring the product to the market and how to leverage on that internationally. We have some thoughts in terms of perhaps partnering through the technology partners themselves, but we're actually looking for advice on that. The second part, yes, this is something that the company's very much into. We've spent a lot of time in that space, and we do believe that we can commercialize that aspect of the business. So digital twins is very much part of our business.
Now we have our final thematic pillar and one of increasing importance and popularity recently, sustainability. First presenting would be WeDo's. WeDo's is developing a new class of patented renewable and sustainable material called BVL, bamboo veneer lumber.
Hi everyone, I'm Joseph from WeDo's. And our vision is to engineer bamboo towards a sustainable future. So shelter is very important because it's one of the basic necessities required for survivability. And with global population rising rapidly, resources are being stretched to its limits. With conventional timber requiring at least 15 years in order to be ready to be harvested, this is simply not enough, and the world simply looks to an easy alternative, which is illegal logging, and we are starting to see the negative side effects of this. So WeDo's wants to create, or we have created, a suitable alternative that is not only comparable in terms of strength and durability, but we have created a material based on bamboo, which is sustainable because bamboo only grows within 5 years. We have created BVL, which stands for bamboo veneer lumber, which is 2 times the strength to weight ratio, as well as able to last for 30 to up to 50 years. So in ETH, we have done a study comparing BVL to construction beams, and it's expected to reach 27.8% lower CO2 emissions. So we have done a proof of concept in Batam together with our partners, and to demonstrate the structural and non-structural applications for BVL, while retaining the aesthetics outlook of it. So the furniture and construction market is in total $9 trillion for consumer spending, which is a big enough market to venture into. Our business model is primarily as a material supplier. In order to reach this target of $8 million in 5 years, we have targeted launch markets for furniture in Singapore to sell 80,000 planks, which is only 0.3% of the market for middle income houses, as well as Australia for the construction market. This is primarily because we have secured interested partners who are willing to try and adopt these solutions. So we have tested and validated the market with LOIs and MOUs from our interested partners. And currently, our material is ready to be implemented for the furniture market. We are still currently developing the process and costings for the structural applications, as well as getting the certifications required for the implementation. Following which, we will be moving onwards with developing more processes for complex elements such as your curved beams, and also moving towards the more sustainable, to make it more sustainable, to make it more sustainable to develop more sustainable adhesives. So within the next 2 years, we'll be expected to hit a revenue of $80,000, as well as spending about $500,000. Which is why we'll be raising $1 million, and as well as we are looking to connect with people who have the same vision as us. Finishing up, we have our team over here, which is a combination of engineers, architects, as well as experienced business advisors. So that is all from me. Thank you very much.
Did you say you're now cost competitive with things like cross-laminated timber, glulam, and and the like. Is that what you're saying?
Okay. At this point of time, because the processes for cross-laminated timber are way more advanced, meaning there are more people producing, definitely because they got the scale, they got the factories, the machines. It definitely will be, we are at a slight disadvantage because of this, but we are expecting to ramp up processes, manufacturing, get more people involved, and thus be able to push our costs lower.
No. So, because as it is, these new materials are on average about 15-20% more costly than conventional methods on a fully loaded basis. So you'll need to beat them to come closer to concrete and, you know.
Yes, but I think that's a very interesting question because at this point of time, conventional timber are facing a shortage in supply.
Yeah.
So their prices are actually skyrocketing quite a bit. So in that sense, if we still maintain what we are able to achieve, we can actually be cost competitive as well as even cheaper because we do have our own supply that's readily accessible within 5 years instead of their 25 years and onwards. Yeah.
Bravo, really.
Yeah, I think
Hope
so.
this is something important, yeah.
And so where are you manufacturing today?
Right now, we are actually planning to do as mentioned, the furniture applications right here in Singapore actually, because they require less space, require less heavy machineries. So we're actually planning to do that in Singapore. But as for the structural applications, we're actually working together with our partners in Australia to have the manufacturing over there for the structural applications. Because this partner of ours, they are a developer themselves. So they will be producing and using it together with us.
Why not China, given that they have a lot of bamboo there? And pardon me for this rather ignorant question.
Yes, I think, but it's definitely a great question. It's definitely a great question. We did consider China for the manufacturing processes, and we are still considering it as one of our potential suppliers for part of the process. Yes. But ultimately, it boils down to the usage. I mean, it has to be closer to the users or the consumers of it. Basically, because transport, if it includes transport costs and everything, it's going to be quite a hefty amount, which contractors themselves, they want to be lowest as possible.
Next, we have Better Life by T-Square. Better Life is an assessment as a service platform that combines building physics, machine learning, and collaborative technologies.
Hello, everyone. We are the creators of Better Life, which is a digital built environment ecosystem platform that we have very lovingly created for the building industry that we so much adore. Essentially, the whole world today is moving towards digitalization, especially in the pandemic and the post-pandemic era. Also is evident the move towards climate action and decarbonization. And every industry today faces a big opportunity in front of them. This is the best time to go green and go digital. And why should the building industry leave behind? However, we see that the building industry is today a bit disjointed and fragmented in approaching the move towards decarbonization and digitalization. This happens because the building industry data is not well structured, and there is a lack of knowledge which is pervasive among the different participants of the building industry, such as the building owner or the manager, consultant, ESCO, the green financiers, and the product suppliers who are supplying green products to the building industry. We want to change that, so we are enabling sustainable co-creation with our platform and also enabling digital collaboration where all the industry participants can come together. We have developed this technology through years of research which combines building physics and AI to be able to do quick assessments and save a lot of cost and money in terms of the initial stage of assessment of buildings. So people will be able to do energy and carbon analysis, financial due diligence, as well as technology fit analysis for any building using our platform. We present the platform on an open cloud-based interface, which is open to anyone who would like to join and collaborate. Essentially, it's also secure at the same time. And what we're doing is to create entire city digitalization by creating digital twins, or if you like, or digital libraries of buildings and technologies that anybody can access to and then do their work further. So what happens on the platform exactly? We are able to do instant sustainability assessment. So we could do benchmarking of buildings, we could do baselining of buildings, and then we'll be able to look at options to save energy, cost, and carbon in the buildings through a comprehensive analysis, which is entirely powered by our AI behind the platform. We are essentially then providing a sustainability assessment as a service platform, And our tools such as EDGAR, which is an enhanced digital green assessor, provides a low cost and instant assessment and also provides us a green advisory on an ongoing basis, which is digital and always available. Our other tool called Priya, it simulates product performance, so it's helpful for product owners who are willing to supply their technologies to the building and want to know how impactful are their products and also get aggregate citywide data insights. This has been our journey. So very quickly, we were incubated at the Nanyang Technological University, so a lot of years of research. We also got some good technology grants from the Enterprise Singapore, and we were able to sharpen our technology further. We've got some early commercial success, as was mentioned in the introduction. We are revenue positive, and now we are ready to do a full commercial launch. The attestation of our platform came during the pandemic because digitalization was the only way for some of the building owners to do their assessment. Right now, we are at the stage of raising our next round, which is $500,000. This is our pre-Series A round to be able to full-fledgedly explore the platform in the industry and move towards the market growth. So with that, I'll end today and invite all of you to join our digital journey to make the building industry more sustainable and create a better life for everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, Nilesh. Okay, the same thing, the same question that I posed to the earlier startup. I mean, there are many of these software around. I think I've seen a couple of them at least. So I want to hear from you, what is the key differentiator of your software or your platform as compared to the few players in the market right now?
Right. So we have seen several softwares, and I'm actually personally a user of them. We actually researched on those software previously. One of the key problems that we see with existing building software is that they're too technical. They have to be used by trained personnel. We actually do the training sometimes in the early days to get some more revenue. And so that's the reason that they're not pervasive. That means building owners, financiers not able to access that software. So we want to create something which will be easily accessible, has the same engine of calculation behind, but at the same time has an interface which is easy to understand, open. And last thing to mention is that it's a data-enabled interface. That means building owners, technology providers, financiers are able to input data into the platform so that they can see each other's data and compare and make a proposition out.
So have you spoken to banks? Because now banks are doing green financing, right?
Yes.
And I think that, and given how much real estate loans are part of the portfolio of the banks, this could be one way in which they assess whether or not they can, provide good cost of financing. Have you had those conversations with the banks?
Absolutely spot on. So we had two banks, one of our customers as well, which we have discussing about green financing, especially on the renovation loans that they're providing for households. It's going to be very difficult for them to do qualification of every loan and every household technology. With our platform, they can basically make a quick blueprint of what could happen in the household and come up with the full outlay of investments and loans that they can provide.
What is the data substrate that you are analyzing and assessing? I mean, what do you, what are the inputs?
Right. So essentially, we start with the building physics input. So we are talking about the building facade, with the occupants in the building, the equipment that are there in the building. Then we look at the building occupancy patterns, the way the building is behaving, the energy usage of the building, the energy usage specific to the building.
Who inputs it into your platform?
Okay, so we have various ways to input data into the platform, primarily three ways. The first is open source data. So we have actually, for example, started with going to a OpenStreetMap or to a data.gov.sg site and get the bulk amount of data. That's the first one. The second one is we allow user inputs. So if users are not there, basically our AI comes in to fill in the blanks, fill in the gaps of data that we have. And the third one is our machine learned data. So that's precisely what the machine learning does. It crunches a lot of building data. So if you have 100 hotels, then the other 100 would be basically simulated in a similar way. They may not be the exact accurate data that we get until the user comes on board. But once the user is on board, we are moving from, let's say, 80% to 90% accuracy.
How can you use AI to fill in the blanks if you don't even have sensors? I mean, there must be an afferent loop, right?
Okay, so basically the way we use our AI is more in the design stage. So every building in Singapore is designed as per certain standards, international standards like ASHRAE. So we use those standards to basically understand how the building could be designed. If we know, for example, the window-to-wall ratio of a building, we would know what is the heat input that the building would face over its lifetime, right? And this data could be then supplemented further by doing a calibration of actual data. So we could also do API links, for example, with utility providers. We can do API links with BEAMP integration. So that's what is in our roadmap to be able to get more and more data into the platform.
The final startup for the sustainability theme is Digital Blue Foam. Digital Blue Foam is a team of architects, urban planners, software engineers, data scientists, and sustainability enthusiasts who aim to empower the building industry professionals to design, mine, generate, and execute better building projects.
So today I'll present you Digital Blue Foam. We are a Singapore-based company. We are a SaaS company that focuses on the early stage design of buildings and urban districts. So what we do is we bring AI and data together. And we do that to accelerate world transition to creating better cities and to make it super easy to design with sustainability. Currently, it is actually really difficult to design buildings and urban districts with sustainability. So we do this using cloud computing and data, and we bring that together in an online, real-time platform. As you might know, global CO2, 39% is coming from the building industry. 39, I'll say that again, 39. That is almost half, right? As you might know, on Monday, the IPCC report came out, and we are at the last minute of climate change opportunity to make a dent. So we have to do a lot. We have to act fast. So with Digital Blue Foam, we aim to make this available online real time for anyone. So we focus on a super simple UI and make it available to anyone. So anyone can sign up and anyone can work with us to design their urban districts and their buildings. So what we do, we have a digital thread where we focus on the early stage design. We have a long-term plan to look at building construction and to also go down to management. But we're startups, we want to start with what we know well, and that is the early stage design. So in the future, we're going to look at further how the industry has siloed and how the difference between productivity loss, human error, repeat work is currently the standard in the industry. So a lot of information is lost, a lot of data is not being used, and a lot of projects are redrawn and redone as they transition between the different stages of design and construction. So what is next? So with Digital Blue Foam, we have a team of coders, architects, and designers. And I'll tell you later, but we're based all around the world because we believe in a global community. So our goal is to work towards a digital operating system for buildings and design. Currently, it is extremely siloed. You will have to go from software to software to software to software. You can imagine how much data is being lost. So DBF currently in 2020, we've launched our enterprise account last year. And we're currently working with a digital fabrication company in South Korea, where we're looking at the fabrication of smaller buildings and digitizing this already. This is a paying customer, it's an enterprise account. So we're looking further for a high fidelity operating system for the construction industry. So 2021, we are currently, we have a sustainability network where we look at the urban data, we look at contextual data of sustainability information like climate, local environmental conditions, wind, rain, and then we've attached a machine learning algorithm to this that will help you to generate buildings and designs on the fly in real time online. So it's an amazing system that we've built in the last 2 years. So it helps you to build and design at warp speed. So currently at the design stage, it takes you 2 to 3 weeks. With us, you can do it in 2 to 3 days. This is how the platform looks like. So you can see the orange lines, you can sketch online, you can sketch on the screen. The building will update, the algorithm will update your GFAs, will update all your data, all your documents, everything. So, and we know, having been an architect and worked for 20 years, it's super important to extend and understand workflows. So we extend and connect to a lot of the existing software packages at the moment, and we are expanding this every day, I would say. Currently, these are the teams that we're working with, Takanaka, South Korea, RMJM, and we have quite a lot of teams that we're working and discussing with now, and this is evolving really fast. So with a global vision, we engage a global community to drive change. So with that, we start with ourselves. So last year, we've seen a really big growth spurt. So we hired people all around the world to build a super talented team. So currently, we're based in 12 different countries.
So I saw one slide you were saying that you're trying to develop the operating systems for these so-called construction industries that everybody can put in data connected to your OS. So the question is, how do you convince all these guys, the big players, the construction guys, the contractors, to be plugged into a systems? Because creating an operating system is not small feat. So how do you convince all these guys to work with you?
No, it's a very good question. So what we do, and with the experience that we have, I've worked in the industry for 20 years, we understand it's super important that the learning curve should be low and short. So it should be very easy to adopt. It should be very easy to connect to existing softwares. So, and that is the transition, right? If you can show that you are easier, better, and faster, that is the way to win. The current software packages are all from pre-internet. They are from the 80s and 90s. There was no internet. There was no cloud computing thought into these software packages. It's actually ridiculous if you think about it. And that is what we're doing. And that's, I think, a massive advantage that we have.
Where are you in the sort of the funding cycle? I mean, how old are you? I mean, how old is the company?
I am 2 years old now. Digital Blue Farm is 2 years old. We registered in May 2019. We were cash flow positive 8 months later. So we're running on the funds that we're making. We're a team of 20 people now. Yeah.
Cash flow positive, that means you are no longer burning cash, or only revenue positive?
We burn a lot of cash, of course. We're a startup, right? But everything we make, we put into the company.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I saw, there's some revenue coming in, I think it's about in the range of 400,000, a few 100,000, right?
Yeah.
That revenue split is
more,
from
yeah.
project or from the SaaS model we are talking about?
So when we started, we couldn't start with a SaaS product, so we started with an enterprise account. We have a couple of enterprise accounts that is funding the operations. And with that, we've learned and we've built, and now we're transitioning this year towards SaaS.
Thank you to all of the 9 amazing and inspiring pitches and to the judges for your insightful questions. We've now come to the much awaited moment where we will be announcing the winners of the 3 awards, the Rising Star Award, the Innovation Award, and the Impact Award. First, we will go with the Rising Star Award. Could I first invite Ms. Chia Su Ling, operating partner of Wavemaker, to come on stage to give us the award. And so, for the winner of the Rising Star Award, it goes to Doxa. Thank you. Next, for the Impact Award, could I invite Mr. Clarence Tan, founder of Origin Ventures, come on stage to give the award, please. And the winner of the Impact Award goes to Noved. And now, last but not least, for the Innovation Award, could I invite Dr. Lim Jee, CEO of SG Innovate, to give the award, please? And for the Innovation Award, it goes to WeDo's. So we've come to the end of the Built Environment Demo Day. Thank you to all the 3 judges and importantly, the 9 startups that have pitched. And to the audience, please hang around after this. You can enjoy the networking session at the International Built Environment Week platform and mingle with the innovators whom you have seen pitch earlier. Thank you and have a great session at the International Built Environment Week. Thank you.
For this BE Demo Day is definitely a good sport exposure for us, and also give me a lot of experience to have these exposures to pitch on Doxa.
My experience today at the Demo Day was an amazing experience. I mean, the Built Environment Demo Day certainly gives me a lot of experience, of course, to meeting many people as well as many important people. It increases my network.
Demo Day was great today. You know what? Singapore has reopened, and it's the first time in many, many weeks that I was presenting in front of an audience, and it felt so good. I'm very honored to have won the award, but you know what? My immediate plan is to go back to the office, work with the team, work with the clients.